Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video I'll be sharing with you the top 5 books that I want to read this fall. So I've been doing very well at just trying to get my TBR down. I just have one series that I have to marathon, but other than that, like after I finish all these books, like I will be finished basically with my TBR, which is a very good feeling. Like I feel very triumphant, so that's very good. So these are the top 5 books that I want to kind of read over the next few months. They're kind of all over in terms of genre, and then there's 2 new releases that I'm really excited about. So without further ado, let's get started. So starting out, this is actually the Tales and Teacups book club picks for the months of September and October, and it is the Vanishing Half by Brit, and I'm super excited for this. This book has been getting such a lot of love on Goodreads and BookTube, so I'm really excited to read this, and I think it'll be also a very good diverse read as well. And it follows 2 twin sisters that kind of go separate paths. They try to escape their small town, and it kind of follows them over the course of a couple decades, and then it also kind of follows their daughter's story as well. So one sister ends up staying in ending up back in the town they tried to escape many years ago, and then the other sister can pass as white, and she hasn't really told her husband about her past, but when their daughter's stories kind of become intermixed. So we follow these 2 generations of women through the 1950s and the 1990s. So I think it'll be very interesting, just the perspective, especially the eras that it covers. I think it'll be very interesting kind of reading from that perspective. I think will be very interesting as well, and I've heard nothing but great things about this, so I'm really excited to pick this one up very, very soon. So this is a non-fiction read, and this is something that I'm very intrigued about, and it is The Beauty and Breaking by Michele Harper, and this is a memoir on this woman's perspective being an ER physician and how that has really kind of, you know, how going through med school, being a physician in this type of setting, and also being a Black woman, how that has really kind of shaped her life, and kind of how that really made her, just how that made her have a very particular and kind of unique take on life and just everything there. So I think so it says here, in this poignant and moving memoir, an emergency room physician explores how a life of service to others taught her how to heal herself. And I think this will be very interesting, just especially because it is a memoir. Really get to kind of see from her perspective. I feel like it will tackle a lot of different themes as well, which I'm really excited about. I haven't seen too much about this, but I think it's going to be really interesting and inspiring, and just I would never be able to be an emergency room physician, and just the things you would see and how that kind of shapes you, how that impacts you, I think will be very interesting. So I'm very curious about this one, and I'm also super excited as well. Next, this is a thriller, and I'm really excited for this actually, because I feel like thrillers, reading thrillers in the fall is like optimal time to read them. This is one that I've had on my shelf for a while that I just want to kind of get to, but I'm still intrigued about it, and it is A Good Marriage by Kimberley and McCreight. I read Reconstructing Amelia by this author, so I'm curious to see how I feel about this one. But basically, I don't know if I can do it justice, the synopsis, but I'll just kind of read the side here. But it says, Lizzie is working late when she gets a call. Grueling hours are standard at an elite law firm like Young and Crane, but that they'd be easier to swallow if Lizzie was there voluntarily. Until recently, she'd been a happily underpaid federal prosecutor. With that job and her brilliant, devoted husband, Sam, she had everything she ever wanted, and then suddenly it fell apart. No, that's a lie. It wasn't sudden, was it? Long ago, the cracks in Lizzie's marriage had started to show. She was just good at averting her eyes. So the last thing Lizzie needs right now is a call from an inmate at Rikers asking for help, even if Zach is an old friend. But Zach is desperate. His wife Amanda had been found dead at the bottom of the stairs in their Brooklyn brownstone, and Zach's the primary suspect. So I think this one will be very interesting. It sounds like it will be dealing with a lot of people that have kind of flaws and all that, so I think it will be really interesting. I loved Reconstructing Amelia because it was just very much a different thriller, and I'm very curious to see how the author does it with this one. So like I said, fall I feel like is the perfect time to read this, and I know a few of you guys have read this and said you liked it, so I'm excited about that. So next, these are 2 releases that will be coming out over the course of fall. The first one is Troubled Troubled Blood by Robert Galbraith or J.K. Rowling. This is the 5th book in the Cormoran Strike series, and I'm super excited for it. I just really love the relationship between Strike and Robin. I'm very curious to see how it evolves in this one. I didn't even read the synopsis for this one. Like, I think for these type of murder mysteries, I think it's best to kind of go into them blind. But for those of you who don't know, this is J.K. Rowling's adult crime series, and it follows Cormoran Strike, who is a private investigator, and his kind of sidekick Robin. So I think it's like these ones, I think it's just best to kind of go into it. So I'm just, you know, not knowing anything, I'm just gonna be opening the book and reading it as soon as it comes. Next is Shadow Sands by Robert Bryznda, and this is the 2nd book in the Kate Marshall series. So I'm super excited for this. This is another crime series that I fell in love with. I read Nine Elves either the tail end of 2019 or early 2020. I don't remember, but it follows a detective who 15 years ago ended up solving one of the biggest high-profile cases, the 9 Elm killings, and even though she was able to kind of find the killer and kind of put an end to that case, it dismantled her career doing so. So she, 15 years later, she is still putting together the pieces of her life that kind of fell apart on that day, and she ends up becoming a criminology professor. And as you kind of can tell, she kind of gets back into the investigation process. So this kind of follows the second one in the series. The first one's kind of like the origin story, so I'm very curious of this one as well. Like, again, I haven't read anything about the synopsis. Like, for these crime novels, just go into them blind. But I'm super excited for this. Kate is such a complex character, and I'm so interested to see what else she has to tackle. And I still feel there's a lot of the kind of facets and like things from her past that the first book didn't, kind of left unanswered. So I'm very curious to see, kind of learn more about her and see her grow over the course of this novel. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of the fall books you plan on reading are and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.